Hello, everyone. You probably have heard that there is a new open source model called QWen 2.5, which was fine-tuned for coding. It's a fantastic model, and in this short video, I want to show you how it performs against ChatGPT 4.0, which is a premium model. I am a paid subscriber to OpenAI. But I was really surprised how this open source model matches these closed source models from OpenAI. So it's a really great model, and I think most people, at a point, I think we are going to stop paying for code generation AI, for instance. That means open source models will become matured enough for us to stop paying. And you should be able to run them on your own server, on your machine and all that. Right now, I have it running on my local system. I'm going to show you how I install it. It's quite straightforward. I don't have any special setup. My computer is a MacBook M1, 32 gig RAM, 16 inch. That's what it is. I don't have any special setup. Now, this is the side-by-side comparison. As you can see, I didn't try to copy the code out so that you can see it by yourself. What I have done is to make sure I executed the code before the video, so you don't watch it running. It's a little bit slow, and I don't want to waste your time just watching it. So let's start with the first problem here. I like to write my prompt very specific, and I think that is where that is the difference between a good prompt and a bad prompt. Prompt has to be specific, just like your software requirement specification. In this first prompt, I am asking the model to write a CLI to-do application in Go that supports CRUD operation. This is very specific. It should use a flat file storage. And then I went ahead to give an example of how I intend to interact with the application, still specific. Then I gave a different instruction here just to make it, just open the door for creativity and say, use your own idea on how to manage the flags. So maybe each model can bring in like different creativity and all that. And I also provided like a sample JSON for the file. All right, the same instruction I have here, I also pasted it here. So this is the QWen 2.5 coder running on my system here. And of course, this is ChatGPT 4.0 on OpenAI. All right, so let's start with ChatGPT, which we are very familiar with. This is what I use most days, so this is something I'm quite familiar with. Let's see what we have here. ChatGPT started with a little introduction, and also QWen also gave us a little introduction. But the first thing I noticed is the introduction from QWen, I think, is better because it says that it's going to use a flag package to handle command line arguments, which was not mentioned here. So for this one, I think QWen really got it right, and the introduction is better. Now let's look at the code itself. ChatGPT gave us the file name main.go, and here we don't have the file name yet. Maybe let me check underneath if we have anything. All right, there is no file name, so you can save it anything you want, I guess. So let's look at the code. All right, both of them, they are doing something similar. ChatGPT has imported fewer packages compared to QWen. So QWen imported, I think, one more package, 1, 2, 3, 6 packages and 5 packages here. All right, I think the difference is the first thing I noticed in this QWen example is this IOUT. IOUT is a deprecated package in Go, and it still uses it. So I don't know the knowledge cutoff. So let's look at it. See, all the functions in IOUT are now in IO and then OS package. So I don't know why QWen chose to use the IOUT, but it's no big deal. All right, both of them are doing similar thing, right? Don't forget, this is paid, this is free. But let's see. GPT has a model. This one also has a model. QWen also has a model, and both of them are using flags. And ChatGPT is also using flags. Yeah, they are both using switch statements to switch the commands. Right? ChatGPT provides a more elaborate instruction on how to run the program in case you type an invalid command. Look at this one. It just says invalid action, use insert, get, update, and delete, and it doesn't really give you how to pass the flag. So it's okay. So I think for me, this is better. But another thing I notice is the usage of global variables. If you take a look at the QWen version, there is a list of variables declared outside main, which means somehow these global variables will be modified by the function. In short, I suspect this is what this function is going to do, since there is no return value. I'm not a big fan of this, right? But trust me, this is paid and this is free. So far, so good. And let's go down, load to use, the same function name. So this is really interesting, right? Look at how they are writing the code. ChatGPT open the file, read the file and decode it into JSON and return it straight up. No drama, right? But if it's unable to read the file, it exits. And then this one, the QWen version, try to read the file. If the file is not there or the data is 0, it just set the to-dos to an empty list, and then next ID is 1. So it's tracking the next ID and the to-dos using global variables. Now, global variables in Go are package level variables. That means they are only visible within the package. So these variables are not going to be visible outside main, which is not bad. And they are all lowercase, so it's not that bad. And then else, try to marshal the JSON and work the next ID, and that's it. This is also similar, but the next ID wasn't managed this way. This one, the data is returned. I prefer this one, right? I prefer this one because then I don't need to do global variable and all that. But I wish maybe this error should have been returned or something, but yeah, it doesn't matter. Then save to do, very, very straightforward here. Save to do as well, very straightforward. They're using IOUT, so if the number of lines of code are fewer here compared to ChatGPT version, and then insert to do for ChatGPT is now longer. So what ChatGPT is doing here is basically looping through all the to-dos and looking for the max ID and using that one as the next ID. Then it went ahead to create the to-do and append and save it. Append and save. So this is great. This one doesn't need to do all this work on the next ID anymore because it kept track of the ID, next ID using global variables. So it basically just create the to-do, increment the next ID and store it. So basically, honestly, the code looks almost the same. I would pick the ChatGPT version for one reason. The usage of, first, ChatGPT didn't use deprecated library, which I think is great. And ChatGPT also manages these flags and this stuff way, I think, better than it is. But then there are no global variables, which is better to me. So I think the ChatGPT version still wins. But trust me, this is good enough for an open source model. This is really, really good for QWen. And I can just take this, make very minor modification to bring it up to this level, and everything is good. So this is, for me, this is fantastic. For an open source model that is free, that you can run on your computer, this is fantastic. Now let's look at the second example. Before we look at the second example, you see ChatGPT provided like an example of how to run the code, which is great. And as well, QWen as well did the same thing. You see, so this is good. This is really good. Now, so second example, I just say implement a circular linked list. Now, a circular linked list is a chain that the end connects to the beginning. So just imagine a chain that you just fold it, so you form a cycle, just like you're wearing a necklace, right? You have two ends. When you put it around your neck, you clip it, that you have created a loop, that you've created a circular linked list. So that is what a circular linked list is. I gave the instruction that you should create a circular linked list, and ChatGPT went on to provide the very basic introduction with some kind of operation that is going to support. QWen always provide a better introduction to me because it gave, it pointed something out here that a circular linked list is a type of linked list where the last node points back to the first node. So this is very good. This gives you a hint of what a circular linked list is all about. Now, the code itself are quite similar. So as you can see, both have nodes and right? Then this is the linked list itself. So linked list needs to contain something. So the node is the item in the linked list. So this is the linked list itself. So the biggest difference between ChatGPT version and the QWen version is QWen is keeping track of the size of the linked list using a different variable. Now, this can be very useful when you want to, for example, know how many items are in the linked list. That means you don't need to traverse the list, like go through each item to count them anymore. You can just return this count. But aside from that, the code is almost the same. Now, one thing I noticed is QWen was more thorough in terms of the implementation. If you look at ChatGPT, the insert, ChatGPT has a generic insert, right? QWen version was very specific. First, it provided a constructor. It created insert at beginning, insert at end, delete at beginning, delete at end. So for me, this QWen version for me is better because if you are reading the code, it gives you specific method to know what part of the link are you. Are you at the beginning or you are at the end? And this for me, I think QWen win this one hands down for me. So let's go down again, and you see both of them provided a way for you to run the code and some quick output. ChatGPT output is better in terms of what you should look out for when you run the code, and QWen provided an explanation, which is great. After that, I gave another instruction, which this one, I always say port the circular linked list to Java. I am testing the ability to follow up instruction, which we know ChatGPT is very good at, right? For me, this is the first time I'm using QWen, so I wanted to see how it behaves. So you look at me, I put the same instruction here, and both of them ported the code, this Go code, to Java exactly how it should be ported. Look at the QWen's version. You see the insert at beginning, insert at end. It's also using the size to track. But something I really like about the ChatGPT version is this static class that is embedded. I would have loved if QWen took this class and embedded it as a static class instead of dedicated, because this class is some sort of useless outside the linked list. So I would have preferred to be in there. But aside from that, everything, great porting, the same code from Go has been ported directly to Java by both of them, and it looks great. And I still think that QWen, for this circular linked list, QWen won for me. That is everything that I tested with between QWen and ChatGPT 4.0. And this is I want to repeat it again. This is QWen 2.5 Coda, 32 billion parameters, was released a few days ago by Alibaba and the great community, open source community. So this is really, really fantastic. Now, how do you get it to run on your computer? For me, it was really straightforward. Like I said earlier, I don't have any special setup on my system. This thing is memory hungry, so you have to be careful. Now, I have this software on my laptop called LM Studio, which is used to run multiple models. If you download this to your computer, the only thing you need to do is to go to Discover. You pick the model you want to run. For example, this is the one I have installed. If you want a different model, you can pick any model actually and just install it. You see download. And when you download, you can create, let's say I go here now. You can create a new chart. You see, you can load the model. When you click here, you're going to see the model to run. So the model already loaded, and you can just type something. Let's type, can you teach me how to solve Rubik Cube? Something like that, but that's a lot. Now, y, let's type something silly. Y is 1 plus 1 equals 2, right? Make it short. Let's say response should be short, something like that. and then I send this in, and automatically, because it is defined as such in the axioms of arithmetic, very short, very precise answer, direct from the model. I don't need to be on the internet. You can turn off your internet. I'm going to try to turn off my internet. I hope my video doesn't disconnect. See, I just turn off my internet, and I'm going to see now that implement a linear search in JavaScript. Something like this. You see, my internet is off and it's still working. And this is the difference between locally hosted model versus ChatGPT, for instance. So I said the linear search, maybe I didn't type the spelling well, but it's doing binary search. So, but anyhow, as you can see, it still works locally, and you can save some money. So if you are just starting out, if you have the memory power, if you have the system that can run these models, this is probably the best option out there for coding. Thank you, Abba Joseph. If you love my videos, please subscribe to my channel. Hey, it's now implementing a linear search. Okay, I see. Maybe it's thinking that, hey, don't use linear search, use binary search. By the way, if you want to use binary search, your data must be sorted. Bye for now.